Hey guys, so we will continue with the controllers and with the routes. Okay, that we have the first route, so let's create the other ones just to have them there. So this is the first route that is going to get everything, but we will set that in a second. So let's say a router. That route we say post, and this one is for the post ID. Okay, to receive each individual post using the ID. So this one is going to be post controller that get post. We still don't have that. We will fix that in a second. So let's say router route create that. This is the first route that we're going to complete in order to create some documents inside our MongoDB collection. And this one is going to be post controller that create post. Of course, you can change the names, whatever. So this is just referencing something that is going to contain. It's going to be contained inside our post controller, so you can set the naming as you want. Router, that route. So we need a route that will allow us to update. So let's say update, and we pass again the ID. Remember that this colon ID is the parameter, and you can change it using ID or using some other thing. A document, maybe, I don't know, whatever you want that matches the name of the parameter that you want to add. Post controller that update post, update post, and the last one is going to be router, not like that, router that route, and delete, and of course we need the ID. We say get. Okay, let me fix that because I'm kind of doing that in automatic. So we will fix this post controller that delete to use the correct HTTP method. So let's change this. So the first one, we're going to get all the documents. Okay, the second one, we're going to get the ID, and according to that respond with the proper post or document. The route create is not going to be get, it's going to be post, because we're going to send information to the server. Okay, we're going to send information from the client to the server, meaning this API, and we're going to handle that. So the update, we can use put or patch. Okay, but we're going to use put. The difference between those two is that if I remember, put changes everything, while patch changes only the, matches the two documents, what is getting and what we have, and kind of merges the two. Okay, just changing what changed between those two documents. And this one is going to be delete. So in this case, with put, we need to send again all the information in order for this to work. So we are going to kind of overwrite what we have inside the database. Okay, so that is the difference between those two. So let's save this, and you will see most people use put. Only in some places you will see people using patch. I think it's because most of the times we just pass everything to, in this case, Mongoose, and just deal with that. So we don't care about. Anyways, Mongoose allows us to merge the documents, if I remember correctly. So this is kind of the similar thing that should be if we use patch. So let me just go to my routes, I think. I'm on my other, I'm kind of lost. Okay, sorry, it's the controllers. I'm kind of lost of what I need to do. So, right now, we're going to fix this in a second. After we get some documents inside our database, we're going to fix that in order to retrieve those. But right now, we're going to add the rest of the properties async. So of course request, and this is type request, comma response, this is type response. That should do. And here we can add whatever we want. Let's add the other ones. Okay, so we are just going to leave those empty. Create post just for now. So I can actually just copy this and paste it and create the arrow function and continue with the other one. That is update post. And just let me copy this. This is the same. And the other one is delete post, right? Delete post, okay. Delete post, and let's just copy and paste that again. So we have all the routes that we're going to use, and we add all the processing here, and inside routes we are just only going to reference that function. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to create a new post. So we're going to use Postman. Okay, for that, just to have something that we can work with during the development of this API. So is create post. Oh, but we need something, because remember we need to handle files, and we need Multer. So let's go here and say npm Multer, and we need add types Multer. So, and I'm downloading a fucking game. Let me exit this. So that's why it was pretty slow. So okay, let me install npm install Multer. So let's go back here, let's grab our code, and in the terminal or bash, let's paste that. Let's wait for that to load. Okay, npm install Multer. So this is going to install Multer, and we need to start the types. Okay, the type definitions. Contest the type definitions for Multer. So we need this because we are using TypeScript. So let's copy that too, and let's wait. This, okay, that's it. Nice. And let's install that. So before creating the functionality inside this route, this specific route that is the first that we're going to do, we need to go to models and create the model, because I forgot about that. So let's create a new file inside models, and let's say post with a capital P, post TS. I was going to say JS for some reason, okay, but I'm usually working with only JS. So we need to import a few things, and this is why a TypeScript is pretty useful from Mongoose. Okay, we have that. So we need to import a few things, that is the schema, the model, and the document, okay, from Mongoose. So let's create the schema. constant schema equals to new schema. So here we're going to provide a Mongoose a document of which is going to know what each document is going to have. Okay, so this schema is going to allow us, does it say? Okay, it's going to allow us or allow Mongoose or Mongo to understand what each document structure should be, because one thing about NoSQL is that you don't have to specify a structure inside your document. You can have multiple documents with different properties. Okay, so let's say you have a document with something like name and I don't know, last name. Okay, so you have a record with those two. Okay, and maybe inside another one you only specify name, and that's correct in the NoSQL schema or in the NoSQL way of doing things, but it's useful to provide a structure of what we want to have inside each document. Okay, something like a relational database do. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a structure of what each document is going to have, so you can add whatever you want inside this. But for this specific demo, we're going to say that title is going to be type string, and it's going to be required because we can check if this exists. Okay, so this is not going to work if we don't have the title, and we're going to do the same with the content. Okay, just let me copy this because it's exactly the same. It's also type string and required true. Let's say cover. So this one is going to be the same actually, because we're going to store cover as a string. Okay, it's going to be the reference of the file, so that's why it's a string. And the cover name, because we need this cover name, paste this, is exactly the same, it's also going to be a string. And now we need to create an interface, so this is going to be post interface, and what it's going to say is interface I post, that is because it's an interface of post, extends, we're going to extend the document, and we're going to specify the title to be a string, the content also to be a string, the cover is also a string, and the last one, the cover name, is also a string. So I can remember why we did this, because we need that. So let me check. Let me go here and say Mongoose document. We need this. So it allows us, I think, to define. So documents, a mapping, okay, of the file stored. Each document is an instance of model. So let me see if I can see that. It's not that, it's Control F document. So I just need to API document. I can't remember why we need this, but we need it. I think it's because we have. I will check that and I will add it in the comments. Okay, or in the description, just for you to understand what this is doing, because I can remember I did this a couple of months ago and I can remember. So default model, so I will check that and I will let you know. Okay, so don't worry too much about this. I think it's because we need it's going to allow us to have some I can't remember. I can get my words right. So let's continue with this. I will check this and I will let you know. So export default model. Okay. So we're going to export a model that is going to be based on this iPost, okay, interface, and we're going to use the name post, and we're going to use the schema in order to create this post. So now every time we need to access this model, we need to use this name. Okay, so this is the structure that it needs to follow, okay, for the schema to work. So let's save and let's continue. Inside our controllers, so we need to import our post from that models and post. So let's get that. Okay, we will need also to import or handle, okay, let's say like this, from, we have it inside libs. So this one is that libs promise handler, and we need the handle. Okay, so we are importing that because we are going to handle the promises. Okay, so let's check that, okay, in case you don't remember. So the handle is going to receive a promise, and that promise is going to be returned if we have the promise information, meaning it returns true or it returns okay or whatever. It returns some information that is not an error. Then we're going to store in this kind of tuple object or array. You can call it array also. Okay, so we're going to set a toIndex. Okay, and the first index is going to be the data. So we're going to check for the data if that exists. Okay, then if we reach this catch and we have an error, then we're going to resolve the promise so we can move on, set the data as undefined, and set the error as the error. So it's going to be one of these two, or data or error. Okay, we cannot have both, so it's going to be, so we're going to receive or the data or an error, and that is how we're going to handle our errors, okay, and responses. So if there's an error, we can manage that easily, and if we get the data, we can we understand, okay, what we have. So let's go back here and create post. So okay, I forgot one more thing as usual. So inside libs, okay, so let's leave that like that. Inside libs, let's create a new file that is going to be Multer, because I just installed that and I forgot. Multer ts asset inside libs. So let's move this one. Yes, move. Okay. So we have this, and we're going to use Multer in order to upload files to a directory that I remember. Okay, I still don't have that, so let's say new folder uploads, and let's leave it like that. So now we can come back and say import Multer from Multer. Okay, we can see that. And import path from path. Okay, so this is going to be the configuration for all Multer instance. So let storage equals to Multer that this storage, and this contains an object. Let me move my mouse. So the destination is going to be a function request file and callback. For the callback, we're going to say a null, and we are going to set where we want the files to be saved. So we have a folder called uploads. So just like that. And this is going to reference the folder we just created. And file name, again a function request file and another callback. So this callback is going to be first null. If I remember, this is the first part is the error. Okay, so we are just going to set null file that field name. So we're going to use the field of the form in order to manage this. Okay, so if we set our input type file to have the name of cover, then this is going to have the name of cover. So we need to set this. This is just to set a different name every time we upload a file. So we're going to use the date. Data now is at the moment on which this function executes, is going to register the current date, okay, at that moment, and use it as the naming. So you will see how this looks when we upload the file, and path that extension name file. Yep, it's file that original name. So we're going to get this is the extension, right? Return the extensions of the path from the last dot. So we're going to pass the name. What the hell is making that sound? Okay, so I heard a screeching sound that I don't know, maybe it was a car. Car brakes usually sound like that if those are wet, okay, or not properly oiled. So that could happen. So this is the returns extension. So we need to pass the original name. If the name is I don't know, my picture.jpg, then this is going to use the first dot or the last dot, sorry, in order to get that JPG. Okay. After this, we're going to say export constant upload. So this is the how we're going to start using this. Okay, so it's going to say Multer, and I have this I usually, or in all my Node applications where I use files, that is almost all the ones I have, I use kind of the same configuration because it works. Okay, so storage, we need to define the storage, and we can set if we want a subset of files that comes over the wire. Okay, whatever files you send, it accepts an array of files. Okay, accepts a mix of files specified by fields. accepts only text fields, so we are not going to accept any file, and accepts a single file with the name field name. So remember that we're using the field name here, so we're going to allow only a single file, and we need to pass the name of the input that we expect to send the file. So when we send the API, when we send the client request, okay, with the post information, then we can access the names of those inputs. So we are going to send the file using an input type file with the name cover. So that should look like this, okay? Input type file with the name of cover, okay? So that is what how our input is going to look inside our client, okay? So we need to specify the name because that is what is expecting there. And if you want to handle multiple files, you can use an array, send an array of files, and that should be in the documentation. So right now we are only going to manage one file per post, and with the update we're going to delete that file using the name, okay? And if the user specified a new file, then we delete the file and we upload or handle the new file. So that is going to be it for Multer. So let me check the time. I did several things now. Okay, forgot that I was going to start with Multer. So Multer is ready, and we need to go to our controllers. Okay, just let me scroll a bit, and we already have our post or handle that is going to allow us to handle the promises, and we need to import. Remember what we just did, the Multer config. So from libs or libraries, we have a Multer TS that is exporting this upload that it says it is a request handler. So we're going to get that, and later we are going to need this. So import unlink sync from, and this one is is file system. So this thing on line 5 is going to allow us to delete files from our OS, okay, operating system. So I think that is enough for this one because we moved from one to another, okay, because I forgot some things, but we ended up doing the schema. So let's go to models, post the schema of how our document is going to look when we upload it to the Mongo database, and we ended up building our Multer and installing those and setting all the routes that we are going to use. Remember that inside our index.ts, app.ts, we're going to use everything inside the routes that is this index, okay? So we don't have to worry too much about that. Everything here is going to work. Where am I? Okay, or index. So all this is already connected, and we only need to get the functionality inside each one of the controllers functions or routes. So that is what we're going to do in the next one. Okay, in the next video we're going to continue with the create post. Now that we have Multer installed, we're going to use Postman in order to start uploading information to our database.